Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amrdam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Please lead us from unreal to real. Please lead us from darkness to light. Please lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, and peace. And I welcome you all to this wonderful day, celebrating International Yoga Day. And today is a very special day as well, with our blessings from the father of yoga, Patanjali. I wish you all a wonderful Father's Day. What a day to celebrate both the way. So with that note, I welcome Rupaji for the welcome address. Rupaji.
Thank you, Sabariji. Namaste and a very good morning to all. As Sabariji said, I also wish you all dads a very, very happy Father's Day. With Sabariji, I seek the blessings of the Almighty to help us to become healthy, spiritually inclined, and loving human beings who are assets and not liability to this world. This can be said only if we are conscious, vibrant, and robust members of the world community. We have this obligation towards us to improve our well-being today, every day, and continue to be physically and mentally strong. As we all know that this can be done if we take a pledge to live a healthy life by harmonizing our body, mind, spirit, and be one with nature. About 7 years ago, in 2014, United Nations General Assembly and World Health Organization took a resolution to adopt yoga as a means of well-being to spread this message of good health to the world. Our Prime Minister in India, Mr. Narendra Modi ji, said that yoga embodies the unity of the body and mind, thought and action, and is a holistic approach to bring harmony and peace between man and nature. When proposing the date, Modi ji said that June 21st is the longest day in the Northern Hemisphere and the shortest in Southern Hemisphere, thus having special significance in both the hemispheres. So it is very important and auspicious. It is believed that first Adi Yogi, Shiva, began imparting this knowledge to the rest of the mankind on this very special day. Today, yoga is a common household word used to have a scientific approach for inner well-being of all human beings, whether living in the East or West. To commemorate this same principle, we organic mind sadhakas have brought this event to celebrate this well-being. Our medical practitioners, Dr. Ushakant Thakkar, Dr. Hetal Nayak, and our spiritual guru, Sabrinathan Govindan Yogacharya, with our musical artist Kamini Natrajan, will present to you this yogic knowledge. I, Rupa, take immense pleasure and honor with lots of gratitude to you all and welcome you to this special event. As I welcome you, I hope you will not only enjoy our endeavor, but will also embody and carry with you the best of information presented by our esteemed practitioners. I also thank you for being with us today. Now, Dr. Seema Arora, a family counselor, a psychologist, and an organic mind sadhaka, will introduce you to this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Auntie Ji, as we call you lovingly. Thank you for the introduction. And I'd like to take this opportunity to start the program with introduction actually to the organic mind, since you mentioned. So the organic mind is a spiritual platform which has been facilitated by Sabariji for to all of us in the San Fernando Valley to practice yoga. And of course, now it's reaching out to everybody through Zoom. I will take this opportunity to thank Sabriji for bringing the discipline of yoga into our lives. He has been instrumental in motivating a lot of us into making yoga as part of our lives on a regular basis. He named it the organic mind to help us to recognize and tease out the weeds from our mind, hence the name organic mind. He has been holding weekly sessions for the last several years, which are an hour long, and levels 1, 2, and 3, which are weekend retreats. His sessions include insightful talks, pranayams, and meditations. So, in his own words, he's always says the mind is always oscillating, as that is the function of the mind. So, stilling the mind is crucial to function and to navigate in this ephemeral world of our suffering. So, celebrating Yoga Day today, let us begin this journey together. As Auntie Ji said, listening and practicing yoga for the next 2 hours. Sabriji and Dr. Thakkar and Dr. Natrajan, Dr. Hetal Nayak will be sharing their experiential knowledge, wisdom, and insights of universal yogic principle. So thank you to all our respected speakers and all the Zoom guests. And another note, if you have any questions, please post them and they will be addressed at the end of the program. So now, please join me in welcoming Dr. Thakkar. Though I know most of you do not need an introduction to him, he is a very respected, renowned physician and specializing in kidney nephrology, but also very ardent practitioner of yoga. So in his previous talks, he has shared his practical knowledge and the understanding of body from the physiological perspective. So today, he will be speaking about Ashtanga Yoga, the 8 limbs of yoga from the Yoga Sutras given to us by the Rishi Patanjali. So which are yamas, niyamas, asanas, pranayams, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. So please welcome Dr. Thakkar. I'll give it to you.
Namaste. Good morning and happy Father's Day to everybody.
All right.
Namaste everyone. I am Dr. Ushakant, and I will be speaking on the topic of Ashtanga Yoga today on the auspices of the International Yoga Day, which will be tomorrow. As you know, health is vital to all of us. There are 4 pillars of health, and these are nutrition, exercise, sleep, and grace. And by grace, I mean good fortune. Some people are born with good fortune, that is the divinely gifted grace. But even if you're not, you can make your fortune with the help of yoga. I would call it assisted grace. Let me briefly give you the overview of today's talk. We will be briefly defining yoga, going to the history of yoga, the various types of yoga, and the science behind yoga. And then we'll focus on the Ashtanga. We will discuss technique, go over the benefits of yoga, and the risk associated with performance of yogic technique, and we'll conclude with the question and answers. In Upanishad, it says, have you learned that by knowing which all is known? It's a very profound statement, that you learn something that gives you knowledge of everything. I did not understand what it meant, but as with expanding my knowledge and practicing meditation, I have now understood it very well, and soon you will too. Today, you will learn here that with regular practice of yoga, your brain can improve and receive the vast treasure of cosmic knowledge. And that is what we are talking about, that you will know everything. In Yoga Sutra, the definition is very small. Yoga is chitta vritti nirodha. It means cessation of vritti, which is fluctuation of the mind, brings true liberation. In simple English, yoga is the practice of body and mind when the five senses along with the mind remains still and the intellect is at pause, leading to the highest state of consciousness. The root word for yoga in Sanskrit is yuj, meaning yoking or to unite. But the question is, to unite with what? And in Yoga Sutra tells you, unite with real you, that is divine. And you will ask, am I not real me? And the answer is no. You are not real you. You will only know real you, who is divine, with the process of yoga. And once you know the real you will be very happy in the state of bliss, and then there is no going back. You know, yoga has been around for a long, long time. It's very difficult to time it. But we know that it was mentioned in Vedas. And Vedas themselves may be 5 to 15,000 years old. The Vedic tradition recognizes 4 great goals of human life: dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Yoga is the primary means of achieving all of these goals. Yoga was first mentioned more than 5,000 years ago in Vedic epic Mahabharata, and there it was attributed to Hiranyagarbha. Then it was codified by Patanjali in the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali in the 2nd century. In early 11th century, Persians were interested. Al-Biruni, a Persian scholar, came to India and translated Yoga Sutra in the Arabic language. It did go to the West, but the real impact was in 1893 when Swami Vivekananda spoke passionately about Raj Yoga at the first Parliament of World Religions held in Chicago and created a massive awareness in the US. Then in 1946, another Swami Yoganandas, came to US and wrote a famous book called The Autobiography of Yogi. That became the bestseller, and then there was no stopping. In 1961, an American yoga teacher named Hetal was teaching yoga asanas on television. And his program was so popular, Americans were convinced that yoga could forever change their lives, which we now know is true. But the real scientific backing came in 1980, when Dr. Ornish, a follower of Swami Satchidananda, documented the heart benefit of yoga, legitimizing yoga as a system of health improvement. Icing on the cake for the yoga was the publication of Eckhart Tolle's worldwide bestseller, The Power of Now, in 1999. Do you know, since 2001, the popularity of yoga in the US has expanded. The number of people who practiced some form of yoga grew from 4 million in 2001 to 20 million in 2011 and nearly 30 million now.
Wow.
With the help of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, UN declared June 21st as the International Yoga Day in 2015. So we are celebrating the 6th anniversary of the International Yoga Day. Ashtanga Yoga, or the 8-Ling Yoga. This is not the only yoga. There are so many yoga varieties. Some of them are with 4 limbs, other with 8 limbs. Next one is 12, 24, and even 64. But the 8 limbs, or the Ashtanga Yoga of Patanjali, is most effective. And these limbs are Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. Samadhi is the ultimate goal. There are so many types of yogas, but the prominent ones are the Bhakti Yoga, that is the path of devotion, Jnana Yoga, the yoga of knowledge, Karma Yoga, that is the yoga of action, and Hatha Yoga, which is principally the physical exercises. But Patanjali's Raj Yoga incorporates all of them. Then there are other yogas like Kundalini Yoga. We have talked about it on this program. There are Kriyas popularized by various yoga gurus, including the Sahaj Kriya, Sudarshan Kriya, the inner engineering, transcendental meditation, and integral yoga. There is a guided yoga where the guru guides you through the technique. There is even a doga where you do yoga with your dog. So you will ask why there are so many yogas. We all know that the connection with the divine is the ultimate goal of yoga. There are different techniques of meditation. Different gurus have different techniques or kriyas. Some involve breathing, others breathing with mantra or mudra, some with certain asanas, and some even involve using certain drugs. The reason is, with a simple technique, if you cannot still your brain, then you can add a different method to keep your brain still. You can start with pranayama, then you can add a mantra or a mudra, and on, with the goal to keep your thinking in check. The type of yoga one chooses depends upon the benefit yogi desires. Even though samadhi is the ultimate goal, the other benefits are physical well-being, mental peace. Yoga enhances creativity. With the help of Kundalini Yoga, you can even control your internal organs like lungs, heart, intestine. And with the help of yoga, you can also obtain certain siddhis or magical powers. Coming back to Ashtanga Yoga, it's a precious knowledge. As we all know, the goal of the yoga is samadhi, or the union with divine. And if you are in the state of perpetual union, that state is called turiya. We also know that the greatest obstacle to the union is mental chatter. And the reason for the mental chatters are guilt, dirt and clutter, sickness, and poor adjustment in the society. Further expanding on this, guilt, which happens if you have been injurious, untruthful to someone, or you stole something, or you have been unfaithful, or are holding something that may be useful to someone else. Dirt and clutter either in your body, mind, or environment. Sickness, physical or mental. And not adjustment in your family, friend circle, society, or your environment. To get rid of these major causes, you can practice yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, and pratyahara, and you will see that things will start to improve. So you will ask, what will I achieve when I practice yoga? The answer depends upon many factors, but one thing is for sure, that you will be benefited and there will be no loss. The benefit, of course, depends upon how much moral purity you have achieved, how disciplined you are, how long have you been practicing yoga, how good are you at the focus and concentration, and finally, at what depth and duration of samadhi you have been able to achieve. You will realize, and most of you do know, that yoga is a science of brain and consciousness. The heaviest burden that we carry are the thoughts in our head. This cartoon shows so well head being such a large part of the body, because it is that burden that is the heaviest burden to carry. In head lies the central nervous system, which mainly consists of the brain and, of course, spinal cord. And all of you know, brain is a biological computer. Brain's main functions are sense perception, with 5 sense organs of touch, sight, hearing, smell, and taste. It also provides motor response to the perception by moving, mental response to the perception by thinking, but it also has a receiver function, and we'll talk about it as we go forward. Brain is a receiver. One way to calm the brain activity is to block the perception. In Sanskrit, we call it pratyahara, or detachment. And the second way to control of thinking is controlling mental chatter. This will enhance your receiver function. As you know, brain is a substantial organ filling up the skull. The two major components of the brain is the outer part, which is this convoluted part. It is called the cerebral cortex, and the inner part. Right in the center of the brain, there is this organ called thalamus, which is like the gatekeeper to the brain. And we'll go and talk about it more as we go forward. So let me emphasize, in addition to other brain function, that the brain is also a receiver. Most of us know that brain controls the entire biological machine of human body. It is a master computer that has the input function from organs of perception. Like any other computer, it has an output function with motor system, arms, and legs. It does the storage of memory, therefore it remembers. And the processing of this function is called thinking. But very few know that it is also receiver, and that is where we are focusing on. When we try to achieve samadhi, what we are trying to do is to activate the receiver function of the brain. The new model of the brain tells us that if you want to compare to Google, so God or the divine force can be compared to Google. And in the same comparison, human brain can be compared to a mobile device. So when God wants to connect to our brain, it's like Google trying to connect to your mobile device. So the 8 functions I mentioned for the brain are: sense or perceptions are 5, motor activity is 1, thinking is 1 more. Of these 7 functions, the last one is receiving. And if your brain is very active with chatter, it is like having too many open browsers. It slows the computer, and yoga helps you to close these open browsers so that your brain is very sharp in hearing the faint voice of divine. Like a good CEO, brain is a master delegator. We can compare our body to a corporation that is designed in a hierarchical manner, with the brain being the CEO. Studies have proven that meditation improves the brain function or the workings of the CEO. The intellectual capacity of the CEO, the brain, is used to learn new skills, and once mastered, it delegates it to the lower center. And the classical example is bicycling. As you know, that when we are learning to bicycle, we cannot focus on anything else but to pedal and look straight ahead. But as you learn to bicycle over a period of time, gradually you will start to enjoy the scenery around you. You will also be able to carry on conversation. These are higher mental functions. And you can do that because now the brain has delegated bicycling to the lower centers. And it is the higher center that enjoys the conversation and enjoys the scenery. The reason for delegation function is that brain wants to focus on many important functions, including hearing the very faint signal from the divine. Yoga, by calming the mental chatter, helps the receiver hear the faintest of the signal from divine. Earlier, I mentioned about the thalamus, which is like the chief of staff, which is in the center of the brain. This is the MRI picture of the brain. The outer part, the convoluted part, is the cortex, and right in the middle, where the red arrow is where the thalamus is. Thalamus is an important part of gray matter located at the base of the brain and acts as a filter or a chief of staff to the CEO of the brain. Thalamus is an upstream filter that allows only the most essential information to reach the brain. Studies have shown that meditation increases the cells in the thalamus, making it more efficient chief of staff. So yoga helps the brain function and structure of the brain, and better the boss, better the business of the body. Now let's come back to the Ashtanga Yoga. The 8 limbs, as I mentioned earlier, are yama, or the restraints. Talks about the do's and don'ts. Niyama, which is the discipline. Asana are the postures and the physical exercises, including stretching. Pranayama are the breathing exercises. Pratyahara is the abstraction or withdrawal of the senses or detachment. Dharana, the concentration or fixing of the attention. Dhyana is the real meditation. Either absorption in the object of meditation or dwelling in a thoughtless mind. And when you are in dhyana for a period of time, you will be automatically connected to the divine, and that is when you are in samadhi. When you are in samadhi for a period of time, you will feel absolutely relaxed, and we'll talk about it more. So starting with Ashtanga Yoga's key component, the ultimate goal is samadhi. But to achieve that, you have to be ethically pure with the help of yama and niyama, mentally stable with the help of pranayama, physically in the best possible state with the help of physical exercises like asanas and postures, well adjusted in the environment with pratyahara, and could allocate time for concentration and focus by dharana and dhyana. If you do this well, it will lead you to samadhi. Let's talk about the first limb, that is yama, restraints or don'ts, is asking you to do non-violence, ahimsa, non-lying, satya, non-stealing, asteya, non-cheating or fidelity to one partners with brahmacharya, and non-possessiveness, aparigraha. All these are so self-explanatory. The second limb is niyama, or discipline. As you know, all the best intentions, if you don't regularly follow up with them, are of no use. But in niyama, the focus is on cleanliness or swachha, contentment or santosha, perseverance or tapa, self-study and reflection, swadhyaya, and faith in the Supreme Being, Ishvara Pranidhana. The third limb is asana, or postures with stretching. You know, asana in Sanskrit means seat or a posture. When done with isometric method, it is an excellent physical exercise with minimum chance of injury. When I say isometric, by that I mean that as you are sitting now, if you tighten your biceps without actually bending your elbow, you are doing isometric exercise. If you tighten your back, you are doing the isometric exercise for your back muscles. So isometric means same length, but you tighten and loosen it. So when you tighten it, it is the isometric exercise. It also burns more calorie. So when you are sitting, you could actually fluctuate between loose muscles and tight muscles, and that gives you tremendous advantage. One of the asana is headstand or inversion. In my view, it is one of the most important asanas. It has many benefits. It also is somewhat risky. We'll talk about it as we go forward. Then the exercise, you know, when you go to your gym, do the weightlifting and use other machines, that is also permitted as part of physical exercise. Just don't overdo it because it could traumatize your muscles. A cardiovascular workout like walking or elliptical can also be a very good exercise. Swimming is one of the best overall exercise as it is life-saving. It covers strength building, cardio exercise, and pranayama. But important part to remember is stretching. Make sure stretching is included in all part of your routines. The fourth limb is pranayama, or breathing exercise. And we have talked about it in my previous lectures. Breathing is connected to emotions. You know, deep and slow breathing causes relaxation, and slow and rapid breathing causes excitement. Breathing is connected to autonomic nervous system that controls our internal organs too, like the respiratory system, cardiovascular system, digestion, and so on. We talked about it in my previous lecture about Kundalini Yoga. The important part of the breathing to remember is feeling of the air passage through the nostrils. It is the best way to control the runaway thinking. So sometimes if you really cannot stop thinking, focus on the rim of your nose, on your nostrils, and feel the air go in and out. It will stop that runaway thinking. The fifth limb is detachment, or pratyahara. Emotional distress is an important cause of mental chatter. Most of our emotional distress is caused by people, actions, or things we are attached to. Detachment from the people, particularly the loved ones, or the detachment from fruits of action, an external object, is the key component. It is easier said than done, but it is very valuable. It is not closing one's eyes, but it is the closing of the mind from the sensory world that is important. It is required that the yogi makes a conscious pronouncement of the withdrawal intentions and repeats the intentions every time the mind strays. So sometimes when you are working on your pratyahara, your mind will again stray and start thinking about your loved ones. And for a period of time, when you want to stop thinking, you got to re-emphasize, I need to not do that, and get your mind back to doing what you are doing. Dharana, or the concentration, is the sixth lip. Fixing attention on any of these entities is very important. And so for dharana, we need certain tools. It can be mantra or just this is a mental tool. It could be a yantra or a physical tool, for example, a picture or a statue of a deity, or even an art or a written word. Tantra, it is the process too. So this is when you do a ritual. But tantra can also be used to improve your organ system by focusing on chakras, as I mentioned in the Kundalini Yoga. You know, animals are much better at focusing. You will see when dog is focusing on frisbee, he can catch it. Humans may have difficulty. The seventh limb is dhyana. It is when you're focusing on the object or the tool, and when your focus is so intense that you are actually absorbed into it, that is when you are in dhyana. Absorption in Sanskrit is called laya. And when you are so absorbed, that is when you reach samadhi. It is the state where the mind has no thinking. In this state of noiseless mind, that the mind hears a very faint vibration of divine. This vibration was always there, but was drowned by the noise of the chatter of your mind. Experience of samadhi is very, very pleasant, causes ecstasy, bliss, sense of peace. The fear of death disappears. You feel connected to all that is living. It enhances your creativity and improves and clarifies your thoughts. This awareness is eternal. And once this awareness is achieved, a person cannot ever cease being aware of it. So you only need to reach samadhi once for you to be completely aware of what it is. It will create an enormous hunger for that feeling, and that it'll make your yoga practices much easier. When you reach samadhi and can stay in the samadhi, it is a new state of consciousness called turiya. Once you have reached samadhis, you will find very easy to achieve certain siddhis. The minor siddhis are the ones which are connected to the body. For example, the breathing system, it'll improve your ability to sing. And if you want to focus on your asthma, it can even cure your asthma. On heart, it can reduce your heart rate and reduce blood pressure. In the GI system, it can control your hyperacidity and stomach ulcers. In the lower GI system, it can manage your constipation or irritable bowel syndrome. In genitourinary system, it will improve your sexual performance. Then there are major siddhis. We have read about it, heard about it from the big yogis. I have personally not experienced any. But these major siddhis are like magical powers, including anima, where you become very small like an atom, mahima, where you become large like a mountain, lagima, to become weightless with the ability to fly, prapti, to be aware of everything at will, to be at anywhere at will. Istava is to control the nature, and parkaya pravesham, entering the bodies of the others. These are siddhis achieved by people who have reached samadhi for years. Focusing on the technique of yoga, a good sleep with 20 minutes of yoga is the best way to preserve and promote your brain health. Before you begin, make sure you know the goal and say it to yourself. For example, I want to sleep better, or I want a union with my maker. Choose a quiet location, a time, a posture, Start with mantra and pranayama. Concentrate and visualize in dhyana. Merge with what you are visualizing, and then you will reach your samadhi. Most of the time, yoga is harmless, but occasionally it can cause injury, particularly when you do headstand. Sometimes when you are in certain posture and you turn your head, it can cause damage to the important arteries in your neck. And if you do force certain postures, it can cause ligamental tear, a common one being a damage to the hip joint. The benefits of meditation are many we have gone over in the past, but a daily 20 minutes of meditation with mantra can upgrade your body functions, structures, and chemistry. For brain, it produces new brain cells and rewires your brain in the right direction. It can produce good chemicals in the brain like melatonin and serotonin and growth hormone. It can reduce the bad chemicals like the stress hormones, adrenaline and cortisol. It even has a cancer killing effect by promoting killer T cells. Benefit of pranayama, it can calm your anger, improve your sleep, combat ruminative thinking, prevent lung, sinus, and ear infections, strengthen respiratory muscles, improves intestinal motility. Pranayama is the only way to connect to autonomic nervous system, thereby connecting to chakras and nadis. Benefits of sleep. As I mentioned, sleep is as important as meditation. It has almost same benefit as the meditations. In addition, it also organizes your deep memories. And it is only during sleep we clean our brain of the beta amyloid, a toxic chemical that is the cause of the Alzheimer's disease. So in conclusion, Ashtanga Yoga is the ideal yoga for connecting to divine. There are many different benefits even before one reaches the Samadhi. Kundalini Yoga is very target oriented, is used either for treating certain ailments like irritable bowel syndrome and so on. After reaching Samadhi, a yogi may try to achieve one of the various siddhis. For a newcomer, a guru is strongly recommended because there are detailed instructions needed from a qualified guru, and certain practices of yoga could be harmful if you don't take care. Thank you. I will take questions after all the presentations are done. Namaste.
Sinaji, unmute.
So thank you, Dr. for the very in-depth overview. I think we'll need a whole weekend workshop. It was a very detailed and very in-depth. So thank you so much for going through the history, all the details and the medical understandings of the brain. I think everybody, I'm sure, has benefited. But I think we totally need another weekend of this to grasp everything you said. So now, thank you again, and please continue to, help us with all these understandings. So moving to the next segment, we are going to understand from the Vedas, this is knowledge from the Vedas, addressing the 5 koshas, which are the Annamaya kosha, the Pranmaya kosha, the Manomaya, Vijnanmaya, and Anandmaya kosha. Sabariji will be introducing Tri Yoga, which will be starting from July 17th, every Saturday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. He will be describing the program as well as giving the introductory session leading into meditation with soulful songs by Kamini Natrajan. And I think he will connect us now with all our 5 koshas with the Tri Yoga program he has designed for us. Sabariji.
Thank you, Seemaji. And first of all, thank you, Dr. G, for a very beautiful connection between, no one can give you this authentic way of connecting the spiritual to the physiology of it. And if you are intellect, I hope you are absolutely convinced the need and necessity of yoga in your daily life. So I would like to, give you. I would like to give you some introductory session of Tri Yoga, what Seemaji was mentioning about. You all able to hear me? Yes? I'm just checking.
Yes.
Yes, okay, good. So we will be, so before that, I would like to give you a very quick note of, people will be thinking about yoga and yogasana. Yoga means realizing that the essence of your presence is universe is called yoga. Yoga is not yoga asana. So if you can realize the essence of your presence is the universe, this is a samadhi, is called yoga. So there are various types of yogas are there. The 4 main one, as Dr. G was telling, if you are emotionally connected, you can seek bhakti yoga. Through bhakti yoga, you can seek this essence of presence within you. If you are intellectually connected with the world, you have a sharp intellect to ponder, to question everything, then you use jnana yoga path. But if you are physically connected with the world, then that's where comes the karma yoga. And if you are mentally connected with the world, at this juncture, I think most of us are mentally connected through the mind, then the Raja Yoga comes. So International Yoga Day is a reminder for all of us to understand the 4 things. This is the day you may want to retrade. Either if you don't understand the investment, what is the best investment? The best investment, your 401k is yoga. Whatever the material knowledge you gain will not come with you. If you know how to repair airplane, or if you know how to navigate ship, or if you can build a beautiful structural engineer you are, none of the knowledge is going to come in the inner world. So investment to the real 401k is yoga, the essence of your realization, and that knowledge is going to come with you. So if you have not understood this investment, this is the day you want to remind yourself that, hey, this is the best investment I should do. If you already know about this, then today is the day for you to get initiated to yoga, which means for those who understood that, hey, my 401k is this yoga, how can I go about it? That's called initiation. So get initiated for any type of yoga based on what is your mental capacity is, where is your like and dislike is, choose the path and start your journey. If you are in this journey already, you got initiated, then what is this day for? This day to remind you to start your investigation, start your seeking the truth. If you have not started yet, join some community, join some classes, join some, take initiative and start doing it. Investigate the truth. But if you are telling me that, Sabariji, I am doing all those things, then what is this International Yoga Day for me? This International Yoga Day for you is, you are in the 4th category of intensify your seeking. So understand, every International Yoga Day, remind yourself, where are you standing? You haven't not introduced to yoga, then understand what the benefits of yoga. If you are introduced to the yoga, then get initiated to yoga. If you're already initiated, then start investigating, then start practicing the sadhana, the practice of yoga. If you are doing all those things, remind yourself on the International Yoga Day, I need to take another step. I have to intensify my seeking. So with that, I would like to introduce Tri Yoga here in our side of it. The Tri Yoga is basically a it's meant to teach the fundamentals of yogasana, pranayama, and meditation. All the three together. That's why I call it as a tri-yoga. You will learn the daily routine to exercise your body, mind, and breath to cultivate the habit of yogic lifestyle to becoming more physically and mentally well-being in your life. That is called tri-yoga. So because it's a yoga day, if you don't do any yoga, that doesn't justify the day. So I think I already told you that let us do some a basic asanas right now. I recorded this whole process. It's going to be another 20 minutes. So I know that we are running late. So be patient because of the technical difficulty and all those things happen. It's going to run late for at least 30 minutes. So I'm going to do this 20 minutes of yogasanas videos and you can all do with me. So those who are at your home, pull your yoga mat and start doing these steps. Okay. So all of you are ready. I'll give you a few seconds or a few, 30 seconds to pull your mat and ready for the yoga. At least do whatever you can. If you cannot do certain asanas, that is fine. Do whatever you can. I'm starting with this little warm-up round and going into certain asanas, and then finally, Shivasana or Shavasana, and then enter into meditation along with Kamini's, Natrajan's divine soul music also. So the end of this, that will start. So please pull your yoga mat. I'm going to start the video. So be patient and please get up from your seat and please do it. Enough of intellectual convincing matters. Now let's act. So all of you are ready, I believe. I'll start my video here. Welcome you all to So I'm going to start. Let me share my video here. All right. All are ready with your yoga mat, wherever you are, please get up from your seat and let's do it.
Welcome you all to International Yoga Day Yogasanas. Let us all together do some basic asanas and stretches. Harishankar is with me and we both are going to show you demo how to do these asanas. It is a very wonderful coherent movement of poses and I hope you will enjoy. Let's just start with our warm-up and loosening our muscles and refresh the body and prepare the body for asanas, and I hope you will enjoy. And are you all ready to do with me? Hari, how about you? Let's all together do that one. Let us start our movement by walking in place and slowly increasing the pace of walking by jogging, and finally jumping jack, and then slow down your walking and finally stop by the time your body will be warmed up. Let us do some warm up by top to bottom by bringing some awareness and consciousness into our body. Let's start with our ankle. Take your right leg and then rotate your ankle clockwise direction comfortably, slowly. Bring your attention and awareness to the ankle while you are doing it, and then anti-clockwise direction, just to make sure that both the direction you are comfortably rotating. Once you are done that, then move on to your left leg and then rotate your ankle on clockwise direction and then anti-clockwise direction. Once you are done that, then we will move on to our knees. Hold your knees, both the knees, and then rotate slowly clockwise direction, slowly and steadily. Once you are comfortable, then move on to the anti-clockwise direction, slowly and softly. Once you are done, let's move on to our hip. Stand apart steadily, and then let's go with clockwise direction, hip rotation, slowly, comfortably, and then anti-clock direction. Always the symmetrical poses are recommended in Yogasana, same way during the warm-up round. Once you are done that, let's move on to our upper body. Let's swing sideways like a child, Go back and forth sideways, look back and swing casually. No tension is withheld here. Just relax and relieve your stress by going sideways. Swing your arms sideways. Once you are done that, let's work out a little more on hands and upper body. Let's rotate our arms forward slowly. Don't gain any pain or anything, but just free and openly rotate our arms forward and then backwards. Then let's try for alternative. One forward and one backward if you can. And then opposite of that direction of one forward and one backward. Now you are getting a little bit of loosen of muscles there. So let's now give some attention to our shoulders by rotating our shoulders forward and then backward. Feel the stretches, feel the little pain there. Relax your muscles by rotating. Once you are done that, let's give some attention to our wrist by extending our arms forward and rotate your wrist clockwise. Both the hands like that, both the arms, and then anti-clockwise. And then open your fingers, clench your fingers. Let's stretch our fingers. We never do that actually. After that, let's move on to our neck. Place your hands on your hip and then rotate your head clockwise and then anti-clockwise. Fully, slowly, don't get hurt. Just slowly move clockwise and then anti-clockwise directions, so that you are relaxing the neck muscles, you're relaxing the whole muscles in your head. Once you are done that, let's now move on to relaxing. Now we relaxed our entire body. Now we are completely warmed up. Let us move on to practice Samasthiti. Please bring your feet apart and bring your arms in a prayer pose close to your heart. Let us practice Samasthiti. Samasthiti means aligning, centering, grounding, equal standing without any anterior or posterior tilt, by distributing your weight equally on your legs. Feel grounded. Center yourself. Bring your awareness and consciousness to your body. Bring your thoughts, position to your body feelings without wandering outside. That means you are centering your body and mind together. So bring your awareness to the warmthness between your palms. Feel that warmthness between your palms to feel your presence. I always say, buddy with your body. That is the best thing to center yourself to start the yogasanas. So without aligning ourselves, we cannot coherently or synchronously move our body and mind with awareness. So Samastiti give you such an establishment before starting any yogasana. Let us now do Tadasana. Tadasana means stand with the feet shoulder width apart, body weight equally divided on both the legs. Focus on one point. Breathe in and come up on your toes, lifting the heel. Raise your hand above your head. Stay there for a few seconds. Lift your spine, lift up so that the Muladhara chakra can blossom. And once you're ready, exhale and bring your arms down either sideways or in the front. Let us do one more time. Raise, heel, stand on your toes, lift your hand up, lift your spine, and exhale, bring your hands sideways or in the front, slowly. We are going to do one more time. Lift your heel, stand on your toes, and lift your spine up. And then bring your hands down and exhale. Let us do Ardha Chandrasana. Put your feet apart. Be in Samastiti. Raise your right arm up slowly. Inhale. And then slowly bend towards your left, sliding. Feel the arch and the stretch on your side. And then bring slowly up your arms. Inhale. And then exhale. Bring your arm down sideways. And then now lift your left arm up. Inhale. And then slowly slide to the right side. Now you feel the stretch on the other side of moon pose. And then bring your arms up. And then slowly bring your arm down. Let us do one more time. Lift your right arm up. Slide towards your left. Feel the stretch. Inhale, bring arms up. Exhale, bring arm down. Let us try the left side. Lift your left arm up. Slide to your right. Feel the stretch. Inhale, bring your arm up. Exhale, arm is down. We are going to do one more time. Lift your right arm up and then slide, bend towards left. Feel the stretch. Inhale, raise your arm. Exhale, arm is down. On your left side, bring your arm up, slide, and then inhale up. Exhale, your arm is down. Let's move on to our next asana in the series. Let us do Virabhadrasana or warrior pose. For that, please come and stand at the bottom of your yoga mat. And now stand with the feet apart. Stretch your right foot forward with the left leg slightly tuned sideways. As you inhale, lift both of your arms up and bend your front knee with the thighs parallel to the floor. Bend down. Exhale and place both the arms, both the palms on the ground and bring your head close to the knee. Now inhale, keeping the bend in place. Lift both the arms up with the palms together in a warrior pose. Virabhadrasana, looking straight. This is inhale. Now lift up and bring your arms sideways down. Exhale. Now we are going to do one more time. Let us again lift both the arms up above our head and then bend your knee, move forward with the thighs parallel to the floor. Bend down and exhale and place your palms on the ground. Inhale, and keeping the bend in place, lift your arms up. Virabhadrasana. Now exhale, lift up and bring your arms down. Now let us change the leg. Now bring your left foot forward instead of right. Let us repeat the symmetrical poses here. Lift your both arms up, inhale, and bend your knee forward, down, put your palms together on the ground, and then inhale, raise palms together, Virabhadrasana, and then exhale, lift up, bring your hands down. We are going to do one more time. Lift both arms up, bend your knees, move forward, and then palm down on the ground, exhale. Now palms together, prayer pose, up, Virabhadrasana, then lift up, bring your arms down. Now come back to the Samasthiti. Let's move on to do some sitting down poses. So please sit down on your yoga mat comfortably. Let's prepare for our next asana. Let us do Dandasana by sitting on the yoga mat and stretch both the leg. Place both the palms on your thighs. Sit with regular breathing, and then sit up by lifting your spine up. And then, as I said, regular breathing, but look forward to centering yourself. And your position should be like a L pose, like a stick pose. The Dandasana is like that. And then we will be doing Paschima Uttanasana by lifting your both the arms up, and then we will be bending our upper body towards your leg. And let's try that by lifting both the arms up, inhale, and then bend over towards your leg by bending down. But you may want to lift your knees up a little bit if you cannot, and then bend over and catch the bottom of your feet, heads down, exhale. Inhale, just lift your heads up, and then see, inhale like that, and then exhale, put your head down, and inhale, raise your arm up, and then exhale, bring your palms down on your thighs in Dandasana. Let us do one more time by bringing both the arms and lift up your spine by inhale, lift your arms up, exhale, bend towards your knee, head is close to your knee as much as possible. Inhale, heads up, exhale, heads down, and then inhale, raise your arms up, and then exhale, palms on your thighs, back to Dandasana. Let us do one more Paschima Uttanasana by lifting both your arms up, inhale, and then bend over and try to catch bottom of your feet, exhale down, inhale, heads up, just head alone up, and then exhale, heads down, inhale, raise your arm up, and then exhale down, your palms, both the palms on your thighs. This is Paschima Uttanasana. Let's move on to next pose, which is Baddha Konasana or butterfly pose. Let us do Baddha Konasana by bringing both the feet close to your body as much as possible. Hold both the feet and bring that to close to groin area as much as possible and sit straight. Hold your both the feet with your both the palms together and start flapping your thigh muscles up and down like a butterfly. It's like a feeling like the butterfly is flying, and kids like this pose, and I see Hari loving it already. And let us flap our thigh muscle up and down to stretch the muscles around that area. And let us do along with this bend over close to your head, close to the feet by exhaling. So let us do that. Exhale, bring your upper body and head close to your feet as much as possible. Don't force yourself. And then inhale, sit up, and one more time, exhale, go down as much as you can close to the feet. And then exhale, bring back and sit straight and start flapping your thigh muscles up and down so that kids can enjoy, we can enjoy and relax ourselves. And I see Hari is also enjoying here. And let us do that flapping. And one more time, bend over close to the feet, exhale, and then inhale, bring your heads up. And then relax by stretching feet and then relax your knee. Let's move on to our next beautiful asana, Vakrasana, which is a spinal and a stomach twist. Please don't do it if you have any back pain or injury. Otherwise, please join me for this wonderful asana. Vakrasana is really a good twist for your stomach as well as for spine, and it is good for your digestion as well. For this, bend your right knee and pull your leg and lift your left arm up, and then bring your arm, push the bended leg and catch your ankle, and put your right arm back and look back over your shoulder. There will be a good twist to your stomach as well as to your spine, and stay there for a few seconds. This is an exhale, and in order to release from this pose, simply you have to lift your left arm up and then look forward and bring your right arm forward, stretch your right knee and relax your knees. Now let's do the opposite side. Bend your left leg and then lift your right arm up this time. Push the bended leg and catch the ankle. Put your left arm back and then look over your shoulder and feel the twist on your stomach and spine. And exhale, spend few seconds, and then release from this pose by lifting your right arm up, bring your left arm and look forward and stretch your leg and relax your knees. This is a beautiful Vakrasana for twisting stomach and spine. Let's move on to some lying down poses. We are almost close to end of the asanas. Please lie down comfortably on the yoga mat and prepare for lying down poses. Let us do Sedu Bandhasana. Lie down on your back, bend both the knees, and let us do inhale and lift your body up and both the hands above your head. Inhale and raise your arms above your head and your hip up. Stay there for a few seconds like a bridge pose, and then exhale, bring your arms down and your body down on the ground. Let us do a couple more times. Inhale, lift your arms and body up. Stay there for a few seconds. And exhale, bring your arms close to your body down and your hip is down. Let us do one more time. Inhale, raise your arms up, body up. Inhale and then exhale, bring your arms down and body down. We are now at the end of our asana series here. Let us do Shavasana. Shavasana is a beautiful asana for relaxing your body and mind. Please lie down on your back and follow my instruction and relax your body and mind completely on the ground. Let us do Shavasana or Shivasana. Lie down on your back, completely relaxed, and your both arms are sideways. Your palms are facing upward. You can put your head either to the left or right side. It's your choice, but in a relaxed way. And then, with the flood of consciousness, completely scan your body from bottom to top. Start with your feet. Bring your awareness and consciousness to your toes, your anklets. Slowly move upwards, your calf muscles, your knees, both of your knees, and your thigh muscles, and then your back muscles, your hip. Completely relax. If you have any tension on any of those areas, please relax those muscles on the ground and then go upwards, relaxing your stomach muscles, your chest region, and your shoulder, your forearms, your fingers. Completely relax them on the ground. Completely relax your neck muscles, your facial muscles, your head, everything. Let your jaw go back to the natural position. Relax your entire body on the ground and scan your body from bottom to top few times and relax your body on the ground without any movement. Once you are ready, you may make some movements to your toes and your fingers to bring back movements to your body, and slowly turn to your left and then get up and sit down, and let us move on to breathing exercise.
Now everybody is sitting on the yoga mat, I believe. Let us now take a deep breath, inhale and exhale. And then sit in, either you can sit on the chair or on the floor with the spine erect and also with the chin mudra, bringing your thumb and the index finger together. Now we will enter into meditation by music. So now our wonderful Kamini Natrajan divine music is going to take us to this meditative space. I want you to either close your eyes or you can visually see, but allow the music to take over you so that you are going to transcend the mind. Mind does not require interpretation of the music or anything. Just absorb the music, observe the music, witness the music, let the music take over you. With that I invite Mrs. Kamini Natrajan to render her beautiful songs to take us to the meditative space. Kamini Natrajan.
Namaste, Sabariji, and all of you listening in. This was a great session, and we actually, mother and daughter, we especially really liked the yoga from you and your little kid. And I think that is what it should be all about, right? Having kids join us from a young age. And having said that, I have with me my daughter Shivali, who is also going to sing for all of us. So we would like to actually start our session, and you did with the same exact mantra, Asto Ma Sadgamaya. We will both sing that, and then she is going to sing one. Let's just close our eyes first, and even before getting into music, it's always good to calm ourselves down and chant Om 3 times. Shanti. Om 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 Shanti. वस्तु अमोलिक दी मेरे सत
वस्तु अमोलिक रे रे ग ग म म प म ग म ग रे गा वस्तु अमोलिक दीन सतगुरु कृपा करिया बनायो पायो जी मैंने कृपा करिया बनायो पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो जन्म जन्म की पूंजीकारी जन्म जन्म की निध निध पम धप मध पम गरे गरे सा जन्म जन्म की रे गम गध मध पम गम पम गरे सा जन्म जन्म की मधनि मनि धप मध पम गरे मगरे सा जन्म जन्म की पूंजी पारी जग में सभी को गायो पायो जी मैंने जग में सभी को गायो पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो करच न फूटे चोर न लूटे करच न फूटे मधप 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 मगम पम गरे सा करच न फूटे निसा निध सा निध प मध निध निध प करच न फूटे पप मध पम गम पम गम गरे सा करच न फूटे चोर न लूटे दिन दिन बढ़त समायो पायो जी मैंने दिन दिन बढ़त समायो पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो सत की नाम के बटिया सतगुरु सत की नाम निनि दप मद निनि दप मगरे गरे गा सत की नाम गगरे गम गम धप मद पम गरे सा सत की नाम निरे ग निरे मगरे सा सतकी नाम के बटिया सतगुरु भव सागर तर आयो पायो जी मैंने भव सागर तर आयो पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो मीरा के प्रभु गिरिधर नागर मीरा के प्रभु सनि रे गम पम गम गरे सा मीरा के प्रभु मनि मनि धप धप मध पम पम ग ग म म प प म प प म गरे गरे सा मीरा के प्रभु गिरिधर नागर हरष हरष रस गायो पायो जी मैंने हरष हरष रस गायो पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो पायो जी मैंने राम रतन
like to end with Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram. Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram, Patita Pavan Sita Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram, Patita Pavan Sita Ram. Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram, Patita Pavan Sita Ram. Sita Ram, Sita Ram, bhaj pyare tu Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram, bhaj pyare tu Sita Ram. Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram, Patita Pavan Sita Ram. Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram, bhaj pyare tu Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram, bhaj pyare tu Sita Ram. Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram, Patita Pavan Sita Ram. Ishwar Allah tero naam, sabko sammati de Bhagwan. Ishwar Allah tero naam, Ishwar Allah tero naam, सबको सम्मति दे भगवान. Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram, Patita Pavan Sita Ram. Ram Rahim Karim Saman, हम सब हैं उनकी संतान. राम रहीम करीम समान, हम सब हैं उनकी संतान. रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन सीता राम. सब मिल मांगे ये वरदान, हमारा रहे मानव का ज्ञान. रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन सीता राम. सीता राम, सीता राम, सीता राम, सीता राम, सीता राम,
प्यारे तू सीताराम रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम सीताराम
Thank you, Kamini ji and Shivani. I hate to interrupt this moment because you really transported us. And but in the essence of time in the program, we need to continue. But it was truly, like we know, Gandharva Vidya, your classical music, is a messenger between God and human. And I think that experience, I'm sure everybody felt with your melodious celestial voice. So thank you again. And to the next part of our program, I'd like to welcome Dr. Hetal Nayak for her valuable, I'm still in that zone, excuse me. So for now, I think we can get to the real food for the body and mind, back to our program. So our next guest is Dr. Hetal Nayak. She is a physician who has dedicated all her time to the practice of yoga. She was initiated on the path of Kriya Yoga by an ordained Himalayan monk, Swami Vidya Dishananda. She is founding member of I Do Yoga and the president of Seva International San Antonio chapter. Her dedication and service to the community of San Antonio is an inspiration to all of us. So thank you and welcome, Dr. Hetal, for giving your time this Sunday morning. Please take it away.
Thank you, Seema-ji, and thank you, Kamini-ji, for that blissful music. I really enjoyed it thoroughly. And I'm the only person between food and you. You all had a long morning, so I'll get right to the topic. I'm going to share my screen. So, food as per yoga. The big picture in today's talk, we'll see what is the gravity of the situation, how important this topic is. We make choice with what we are going to eat every single day, more than 3 times a day. Principles of the yogic diet, why we choose what we choose to eat, and also why, where, what, when, how much to, and how to eat our food. We all have experienced a difference in the world in the last year and a half. The latest data as per 2 days back, to death in United States, 616,783. So more than 600,000 lives lost in a year and a half. Can we compare it with the number 1 killer in US? About 647,000 Americans die of heart disease each year. And that is 1 in every 4 deaths that we experience. And the burden that brings to our economy is $219 billion. So we have 616 deaths from COVID in last year and a half, but 647 Americans die of heart disease every year for years and years. That has been going on. Obesity, according to the WHO data in 2015, around 3.4 million deaths each year are linked with overweight and obesity. And you can compare this number at 3.4 million. So that's a big number. So what are these diseases? They are non-communicable diseases or chronic illnesses that we do not catch from someone else, but it is our own doing. So the 4 leading causes of death in our country are cancer, diabetes, lung, and heart disease. And when we compare to the cost that it's a burden to us, it's about 18% of our GDP is just spent in managing these chronic diseases, which we can all very well take the responsibility and able to manage them. Of all the dollar that is spent on our healthcare, each of the dollars 75 cents is spent only in managing these chronic diseases, which are now called as lifestyle diseases. And after spending all that money, where do we stand in terms of the quality of health when compared to the other advanced nations? We are 11th in rank, almost to the bottom of it. So really, this is not healthcare, but it is a sick care. We have outsourced our health to the healthcare system. And what has happened mainly in the last 50 to 60 years. If we really recall, just a couple of generations back, our grandparents did a tremendous amount of physical work. A lot of them were involved in farming. Then came the next generation of our parents. They still had to do a lot of walking, go walk to the grocery store. And we all know, most of us here have grown up in Bharat, and how much of walking and physical exercises we had to do. And we were sitting on the floor to eat our food. We were sitting on the floor to do so many things, the chores and cleaning the grains. But over the last one generation, so many things have changed. So we have more than 7 million yoga poses by our rishis and sages that were completely connected with the nature and could move the body in such a different way so that they can access the deeper aspects of our being. But with our new lifestyle, we have completely reduced our physical movement, and it has come down to this, just to add a little light note to our talk. And this is I'm trying to do the full screen, but it's okay. So this is the slide just showing how this is the gravity of the situation with our modern eating habits. If we really bring our awareness, we have access to all this kind of food pretty much on all the everyday basis. And all of our festivals, all of our celebrations are linked with some or other of these kind of eating habits. Now, can we bring a change? Does this happen overnight? Not really, right? We all know that it doesn't happen overnight, but it does require a lot of our conscious effort and awareness in changing what we are trying to change. But just see if we can bring the awareness, the art of cooking, which is now dying. Our mothers, grandmothers, they would spend entire day in the kitchen, and now it has come down to just fixing the food from the frozen to the microwave, and that preparation time has gone down even more. So I'm getting quickly to our point, and I'm just rushing through these slides. This talk is really an hour long, but I'm going to squeeze it in 25 minutes. So if you want to access the full talk, I'll give the link later. But here is the slide from Dr. Dean Ornish. And if you really closely look at it, the modern medicine is trying to mop the floor when the problem lies in the sink where the faucet needs to be turned off. So all the chronic diseases that we talked about earlier, the root cause of which we are coming to today's talk. So Dr. Dean Ornish, he is one of the cardiologists, and he is also the cardiologist for Mr. Clinton. He has done a lot of work on lifestyle and how can we reverse the cardiac disease with lifestyle changes. So he has written a beautiful book called The Undo. And I will play this video for a minute and a half where he captures the essence very beautifully.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Dean Ornish, and I'm deeply honored to be able to give this video tribute to Sri Swami Satchidananda on the occasion of his 100th birthday. You know, all of my work is based on what I learned from him. We were able to show, beginning in 1977, for the first time that even severe heart disease could actually be reversed by making what we call comprehensive lifestyle changes. You know, when I did my first study, I called it the effects of a vegetarian diet and yoga on heart disease. And the cardiologist said, you know, we're going to have a hard time referring patients to you. What are we going to say? We're referring them to the Swami? So we called it the effects of stress management training and dietary changes and so on. And one of the things that I learned from Swamiji is that when in Rome, act like the Roman. The language becomes important when you're trying to build bridges. And over the last 37 years, my colleagues and I at the nonprofit Preventive Medicine Research Institute, in collaboration with some of the leading academic institutions and medical centers around the world, have been able to show that not only is heart disease reversible, we then did a series of studies showing that even early stage prostate cancer may be slowed, stopped, and even reversed by making these changes. It's still the first and only randomized controlled trial that's been able to show that. We wondered what some of the mechanisms might be to explain what we found. And we learned that over 500 genes were changed in just 3 months, and in every case in a beneficial direction, turning on the genes that protect us, turning off the genes that cause heart disease, prostate cancer, colon cancer, breast cancer, type 2 diabetes, and so on.
So again, I'm going to go back to my talk. So what is our responsibility? Dharma artha kama moksham arogyam mulam uttamam. So we all know in Sanatan Dharma, Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha are the purposes of our life. But the root of all this is health. Without health, we cannot achieve any of these. So also the Manusmriti says that the first responsibility for us is to take care of ourselves. If we take care of ourselves well, then we can serve others better. So principles of yogic diet. We all know as a yoga practitioner, yam and niyam are the basis on the Ashtanga yoga. Yogic diet is mainly vegetarian diet. And that is scientifically proven too, the way our teeth are designed, the way our jaw is designed, the acidity of our stomach, the length of the small intestine, the length of the large intestine. All of those are conducive for us to have vegetarian diet, even if we look at it scientifically. But looking at it from the principles of yam and niyam, the first principle of yam is ahimsa. To not put in anything in our system which will create imbalance, which will create assault on our own body. So can we not take in anything that harms us? That is one of the yama. Niyama is saucha, that is cleanliness, purity, and santosha. Can the food that I take in be clean and pure? And can there be my contentment in consuming it? So these are the principles behind what we eat in the yogic diet. So yogic diet is primarily vegetarian, moderate in amount, and pure. So the amount, when we say it's moderate, it's called mitahar in yogic philosophy, and pure food is the sattvic food. So what are the goals of yogic diets? Our food can be according to what our goal is. So if I want to become an athlete or a football player, of course I will eat food that will give me stamina, strength, and sustain through my football practice. But if I'm a yogi on the path of yoga, then my food should be such that it enhances my awareness and is conducive for all the practices that I have taken up on the path of yoga. Will the food that I take in sustain my asana practice? Will the food that I take in help me on my pranayama practice? Will it raise my awareness and consciousness? Then that kind of the food is called yogic diet. And of course, the ultimate goal of yoga is freedom or moksha. So all the things that are given in the scriptures on the diet that a yogi should eat are based on this principle. And with our asana and yoga practices, the asana practices and pranayam that we do, the Jathar Agni is ignited, which helps digestion of the food, and so that we can create the essence of the food that is called as ojas, which brings us prana. So this is one of the words from Chandogya Upanishad. Ahara shuddhau sattva shuddhi, sattva shuddhau smriti dhruva, smriti lamte sarva granthinam vipramoksha. If man's diet is pure, his mind is pure, will be pure as a matter of course. So purity of the mind depends on the purity of our food. And our next verse from Shiva Samhita explains us why. Of the food we consume, the grossest part of the food gets excreted from our body. The middle portion of that food that we consume becomes our gross body. And the subtle aspects of the food that we consume becomes our mind and the linga sharira. So food not only affects our physical body, our rishis had understood it in their deep state of meditation. It was not through experiments, it was not through the scientific experiments outside, but in their own body, they conducted these experiments and came to this conclusion. So this is from Shiva Samhita. Now I'll take you to the next 4 verses on Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita, of course, in 17th chapter, Bhagwan has beautifully explained about what kind of food a yogi should be consuming. So everything in the material aspect in the Prakriti, according to the Bhagavad Gita, is classified into 3, depending on what kind of texture or what kind of attributes that material thing has. So also food is divided into 3 kinds: sattvic food, rajasic food, and tamasic food. So Bhagwan says the food we prefer is according to our disposition. What is the kind of mindset we carry? So everything in the nature, if you look at the animals, they're already pre-programmed. They don't have choices. A deer will not eat meat. A horse will not eat meat. They're already pre-programmed by the Prakriti or the higher being. Human being is the only being that has been given choices, or we have preferences. And we can use these preferences wisely, or we can use them otherwise. So then we will go on to look at what is sattvic food, what is rajasic food, and what is tamasic food. So sattvic food is the food that is person in the mode of goodness prefers. Food that brings us vitality, brings us strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such foods are juicy, succulent, nourishing, and naturally very tasteful. We will come to the list of it. And the sattvic diet is a positive pranic diet. It brings in prana, it brings in life force. We will be ready to go to the mat and do our asana practice. That is the kind of food that is called as sattvic food. It is easy to digest, and it does not leave us with lethargy, and it does not leave us agitated. And that is sattvic food. It is in natural form. It is not processed. It is lightly cooked or rawly consumed. Whereas rajasic food, the food can be too bitter, it can be too sour, salty, very spicy, very hot, pungent, dry, or chiliful. And people on the mode of passion, who are on the mode of achieving or highly desirous of getting things in material world, sometimes prefer and gravitate towards this kind of a food. It's a vicious cycle. If we take sattvic food, the mind becomes sattvic. When the mind is sattvic, we gravitate towards the sattvic food. So it feeds onto each other. Rajasic food is a negative pranic food. It is the food that is overly processed, has artificial additives in their food, and it leaves our mind agitated. Tamasic food is the food that is overcooked, is stale, putrid, polluted, and impure. So yatayamam, this really I want you to bring your awareness on. This is mentioned in several yoga scriptures, and modern yoga gurus will also agree with this thought. The lifetime between the food you have cooked to the food you consume should be less than 3 hours. Our food should not be stale. We should not put it in the fridge and then put it in the microwave and eat it. The food should be consumed within an hour and a half of its cooking ideally, because that's when the prana in the food is conserved the most. The more we keep our food in the shelves, the more shelf life it has, the less prana that food has. So we don't have the reductionist approach that the modern medicine has. I'm an anesthesiologist and I've trained in the modern medicine and the science of food there. But the holistic approach that our the scriptures give us is just beyond that. It is not a reductionist approach. We don't reduce the food into carbohydrates or fats or protein, but we connect it with even higher aspect of mind and body and spirit and all of that. So tamasic food that is overcooked, the food that is stale. So overcooked food, we see a lot of that being consumed, and that is showing effect in our lifestyle related diseases. The tamasic food is zero pranic food. It does not give us prana. In fact, it leaves us fatigued and lethargic. Food that is overripe, unripe, burnt, overly processed, deep fried, stale and rotten, and of course a lot of red meat and alcohol, these are all considered as tamasic food. So here is the list of the sattvic food, rajasic food, and tamasic food. The sattvic food brings goodness and harmony in our mind, whereas rajasic food leaves us agitated, confused, active, and passion, and tamasic food just feels very heavy and dullness in our body. So the grains, the beans, legumes, nuts, seeds, herbs, water, natural sweeteners, and human dietary products, fruits and vegetables, and cold pressed oils, these are all considered as sattvic food. Whereas caffeine, coffee, tobacco, certain vegetables like eggplant, tomato, peppers, onions, radishes, heavily spiced food, and fast food is considered as a rajasic food, food that are too bitter, hot, sour. And tamasic food, again, we said that the meat, the eggs, fish, mushroom, fungi, onions, garlic, potatoes, some of the fermented foods, including vinegar, and foods that are stale and rotten, burnt, overheat, frozen, overeating is all considered as tamasic food. Now, this is a beautiful thought. Maybe you can reflect on this. I just love, this is my favorite thought from Ayurveda. When the diet is wrong, medicine is of no use. When diet is correct, medicine is of no need. And if we consume our food as medicine, then we will not have to consume medicine like food. So I mentioned earlier, the food in yoga is sattvic and mittahar. So mittahar, what is mittahar? The food that is consumed in the right quantity. How much should we eat? In yoga, we don't calculate food according to the calories we eat. But we say, half of your stomach, annena puryedardham, toena tu tritiyakam. 1/3 of the food should be liquid, and leave the remaining space so that there is vayu charanam. There is enough space for the air to churn the food that you have eaten. It mixes well with the digestive juices and is able to be digested easier. This is from Gheranda Samhita. So some of these verses I have taken are from Hatha Yoga and Raja Yoga texts. And they all say the same thing. This is from Hatha Yoga Pradipika. So on Hatha Yoga Pradipika, it says that susnigdham madhuraharam chaturtamtam vivarjitah. So chatur is 4th. 1/4 of your stomach, leave it empty so that you can digest it. And that is called as mittahar again. So again, mittahar from Gheranda Samhita. Mittaharam vinayastu yogarambham tu karayet nana rogo bhavek tasyam kimchit yogo na siddhyati. So do not start your yogic practices, the practices of asana and pranayam, without bringing awareness to the food or the quality of the food that you're consuming. Otherwise, it will not be of immense help, or it might even hurt you. Atyahara prayashascha prajalpo niyamagrahah janasangasya laulyam cha shadbhir yogo vinashyati. Again, this is from Hatha Yoga Pradipika. 8 things that destroy our practices of yoga. And one of them here it says is overeating, the quantity of the food. Even sometimes if the quality of food is right, but if we tend to overeat, then it will not bring us, in fact, it will destroy our yogic practices. Again, another verse from Hatha Yoga Pradipika. Brahmachari mitahari tyagi yoga parayanaha abda durdham bhavet siddho natra karya vicharana. So a person who is a devout practitioner of yoga practices yoga with mittahar and renunciates. There is no doubt in 1 year will have success on the path of yoga. Another verse from Gheranda Samhita. Adau sthanam tatha kalam mittaharam tatha param nadi shuddhim tatha paschat pranayama cha sadhyate. Do not start your pranayam practices without doing them in right place, right time, with mittahar, and after purification of nadis with your asana practice and nadi shodhan. Now these 2 verses from Bhagavad Gita again sums up everything. Natyash natastu yogosti na chaikanta manashnatah na chati swapna shilasya jagrato naivacharjuna. There is no yoga for a person who eats too much or who eats nothing at all, one who is inclined to excessive sleep or one who wakes to altogether. So Bhagwan here in Bhagavad Gita is saying, bring balance, not to deprive yourself, not to overeat, but follow the middle path. Not to sleep too much, not to deprive yourself of sleep, but to follow the middle path. Yuktahara viharasya, yukta cheshtasya karmasu, yukta swapnavabodhasya, yogo bhavati dukkha. Bhagwan then says, if you eat consciously, if your recreation is with consciousness and awareness, if you're conscious in the work you're doing, and you are also conscious in the amount of sleep, then yoga for sure will take away the misery that comes with the afflictions of yoga, on the path of material path. So again here Bhagwan is bringing awareness into becoming a yukta, a person who is well balanced in everything. When to eat, the chrononutrition. Never eat before the previous meal is digested. So listen to your body. Let not any diet fad tell you when to eat, how much to eat, and all those things. Connect with your body. Never eat before the previous meal is digested. After the age of 30 years, limit yourself to 3 meals. After the age of 40, try to take only 2 meals in a day. And wherever you are, gradually work towards it. Don't make drastic changes. Avoid eating food for at least 3 hours before going to bed. Because when you're going to bed, your metabolism is going to slow down. But if you eat your food and right away go to bed, your metabolism is high. So your quality of sleep will get affected and your food will also not get digested. So if one thing I want you to take from today's talk, do not eat food at least for 3 hours before going to bed. Water. There is so many opinions on how much water to drink and when to eat, when to drink. But all of the yogic practices, all the yoga scriptures, our teachers will say, don't drink water right before eating. If you're going to drink, just take a sip. While eating, don't drink water. And don't drink water for at least 30 minutes after eating. Ideally, an hour, hour and a half. No ice in the water. We all know this very well. It is really going to not help us with the Agni, and that is why no ice with the water. Follow your thirst instinct. That is why we have been given that. Don't keep drinking and sipping all day long. We don't need that much quantity of water. Really, the amount of water we need depends on the quality of food we eat. If we eat too much meat, if we eat too much acidic food, then yes, you need a lot of water. But if your food is sattvic and is mittahar, the amount of water you need is not that significant. So follow your thirst instinct. Storing the water in copper vessel before drinking or in an earthen vessel is a highly recommended practice because it changes the coherence in the molecules of water, and that water is really good for you. So store your water in a copper vessel before drinking. Food that Rama consumed and the sages ate, right? If you read Valmiki Ramayana, thousands of times Valmiki mentions that the sages or Rama that always consume fruit and root, fruit and root, fruit and root. This word comes several times in Valmiki Ramayana. So here again, Rama is telling to Mata Kaushalya that when I am in the Van or when I'm in the Vanvas, I will be consuming root, fruit and honey. And we all know that Hanuman, who is the Vanar, who is also an Ashtasiddhi. He has acquired siddhis by his yogic practices. And he also always consumed sattvic food. Now we know some of the contemporary yogis, Krishnamacharya, the lineage that I come from. When Krishnamacharya went to Nepal, to the caves of the Nepal to learn the yogic practices from his guru actually said that for 1 week, you will have to consume only fruits. First, we will detoxify you, and only then I will start my teachings of yoga with you. Swami Vidyadhishananda, my teacher, he's also very much on, whenever we have our sessions on pranayam or kriyas, always spends a whole lot of time saying that if you're not going to have sattvic food, then these pranayam practices are not going to be helpful. So he over and over stresses on this fact again and again. I will highly recommend one of the talks by Simon Oliver. It's a 6-hour workshop on food. And he is a modern yogi, has practiced for more than 50 years, has gone to Nepal, Bhutan, Bharat, and learned from so many gurus. And he tells you all this that our scriptures had already told us. This is beautiful saying, again, to bring your focus back. The type of food we consume decides on the degree of consciousness you are going to command. And as a yoga practitioners, we know that we are all trying to raise our consciousness. Shri Ramana Maharshi, of all the yogic rules and regulations, the best one is taking sattvic food in moderate quantities. So again, sattvic food and mittahar. How to eat. Now, this is one of the most important slide. So I always tell the person who goes to do the grocery is the most responsible person in the house. There is the first battle we can win. If we don't bring the things we want not to eat, don't buy them. Because once they come inside our house, it is very, very difficult to be taking control of it because our mind is not that strong. We will automatically keep gravitating. Once the food is in our house, then responsibility of a person who is going to cook it. It really matters how we cook our food. Are our thoughts very quietened? Are we chanting some mantras? Are we cooking the food with a lot of love and care? Because it is going to become part of our family. So bringing that awareness when we cook our food. How do we sit to eat? Do we sit on the floor? In our house, we have taken the legs out of the dining table and we have supported it with shorter legs so that we can all sit down and eat our food. That is very grounding and it is very, very important. So can we sit down as a family, connect with our food, not be distracted with devices, and enjoy our food? That's why we have been given those 5 tastes. Take the food because 30% of our digestion happens in the mouth. Chew it properly, chew it 24 times, mix it with saliva, be there with a very quiet mind and with joy and happiness, enjoy all 5 different tastes that are there in our food because it's very, very important to feel satisfied. If we have all the 5 tastes, the bitter, the pungent, the astringent, the spice and the sweet and the spicy, all of those tastes should be there in your food. And so that is important. And then after every meal, brush your teeth because if your mouth is clean, you will not feel like keep snacking between your meals. That's a trick that it has worked for me for years. Take a stroll after you eat, not brisk walking, but just few steps, relax, have your mind that is relaxed, read something if you can, that is inspiring to you, and lie down in a left lateral position. This also, all of these practices help us after eating the food. So that whole chain, if we are a little more mindful, will bring changes in our eating habits. And tanmano bhojana gatam chittam. So concentrating one's mind on the food while eating. What we think while eating, positive, negative, how thankful we are to the food we eat, all of these things impact on our health. I'm going to not go too much in details of the next 2 slides. We all know of the importance of fasting. Itself is a talk, but you can access them later. What do the modern scientists talk about food? Let thy food be thy medicine. So the father of modern medicine, Hippocrates, he says that even this 300 years back, when the modern medicine became, let the food thy be medicine and the medicine be thy food. And this is in same lines what our Upanishads, the Taittiriya Upanishad says, Aushadham hi bhayam anya. Aushadha is annam, right? The annam is like aushadhi. And the health advantages of vegetarian diet include lower the risk of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, obesity, colon cancer, all of those things. Now modern medicine is coming to agreement. In fact, now the modern medicine has another branch of fellowship or board certification called as lifestyle medicine. And in that, one of the most important aspects for the chronic diseases is our food. And these 3 are the modern gurus on yoga. Michael Pollan, he has done 3 or 4 decades of work on food. And he comes up with these 7 magical words. Eat food, not too much, mostly plants. So when he says eat food, He means don't eat food like substances, food that are stored and that have lost their pranic effect. Eat food, not food like substances, not too much. So here again, sattvic food, mittahar, and sattvic food. Dr. Dean Ornish, like I already went over the undo heart disease, he talks about sattvic food and all the practices that he has learned from Swami Sachidananda. And Dr. Rupi, he is one of the doctors from Europe in London. At a very young age, he had atrial fibrillation and he was told to undergo a procedure to control his arrhythmias. And his mom actually inspired him to look into the eating habits. And now he has written a book on how food has changed his life, and a very beautiful book. I've given all these references at the end of my slide so you can access them. Again, eat food, not too much, mostly plants. If you can remember these 7 magical words. And then some very important questions that I always get asked. Type of salt. I was told by my teacher, Swami Vidyadishananda, 1/3 of the salt should be from the ocean, 1/3 mineral salt at the land level, and 1/3 from the Himalayan plains. So try to bring different kinds of salts in your diet. Mineral salt, the sea salt, and then the Himalayan salt. And black pepper, use black pepper instead of red chilies and green chilies because black pepper is more sattvic. Types of oil, ghee and coconut oil is best for your cooking. When you're not eating the oil raw, olive oil is the best. Always use organic, high quality, extra virgin, cold pressed oils. Don't become too obsessive. Don't go into dietary fads. Listen to your body. Diseases is a result of assault against our own intellect. So if we really ignite our intellect, our body is very intelligent. It will tell you what is right from wrong. If we follow these, all the yogic practices and the awesome amount of wealth that we health, the amount of knowledge that we have received from our lineage, we will not go in this direction, but we will go into this direction, and hoping that we will get there with more and more awareness through the platform of International Day of Yoga that we are bringing into all of these talks. So that brings me to the end. I have shared all these resources, tons of videos that I have collected over years, and then shopping list of where you can buy a lot of ingredients and the substitutes for rice. And that's in depth. Like I said, this can be a couple of hours workshop, but I just wanted to honor the time that you have all given me. And I will stop this, but I will be more than happy to share this presentation with you later on. So thank you. And I conclude my talk here.
Simaji, unmute. Unmute. Simaji. Simaji, you need to unmute.
I automatically get, okay. I was saying, I'll start again. So thank you, Dr. Hetal Nayak, for the valuable insights you have provided for the yogic foods and the choices, the importance of choice that we always have available to us as human beings. We need to exercise, find equanimous, way of living, and which I think everybody has benefited from, and your sharing, and so generous of you for putting your videos and insight, because like you said, it's a very detailed information and all of us need it. So thank you so much. And I think we need to practice sattvic food if we want to progress on this path. So, and now to conclude, I will also go to the authority of the source of yoga, which is the Gita. And my Sanskrit is not that great in reciting, so I'll just use the translation from Swami Chinmayananda's commentary. It's chapter 3, verse 43. Thus, knowing him who is superior to intellect and restraining the self by the self, slay you, O mighty armed, the enemy in the form of desire, no doubt. hard indeed to conquer. So the practice of yoga, to recognize our desires as the weeds and distortions, we need to weed them out slowly and regularly, which is a lifetime process. So the organic mind provides us with these weekly classes as well as weekend workshops to learn and integrate these skills. And I would like to thank Sabariji for giving us this platform. And thank you, Sabariji, again for your dedicated service and being an example to us that in our regular lives with family, jobs, and children, we still, how important it is to make yoga, our practices, are part of our lives. And thank you to all our speakers again. And I'll give it back to Sabariji.
Thank you, Seemaji, for that conclusion. And I just want to spend a couple of minutes before we end with prayer. And my heart is pounding with the highest gratitude to all of our speakers. I think Dr. Thakkar talked like a rishi, and Kamini Natrajan sing like a Vani, and Hetal Nayak came with a abundance of knowledge. You do not know what she just revealed to you is an Amurd from Himalaya. She is like Annapurani. So there is no words of gratitude for a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. It's not just an information. What she poured to you through this medium is an Amrit. One who can just listen to those words. You will transform your life just with a physical adjustment. You don't require anything else. Ayurvedam, every yoga talk about mind. If you have a good mind, your guts bacteria is good. Once your guts bacteria is good, your digestion is good. Your digestion is good, your ojas will be good. The ojas brings peace and blissfulness and anandam. You are pushing yourself into all kosha and you reside and establish in Anandamaya kosha. So this information is not just an information. This has been transferred to us from ages and ages and ages. We are so lucky to use this platform to pour that to your house, to give to your house, and how much you are going to put your heart to it, that much transformation happens inside you. So my heartfelt gratitude to all of our speakers here who gave us an immense and tremendous amount of wealth of wisdom. It's not a knowledge, wealth of wisdom. And please, 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 maybe I'm recording this whole thing. I'll put it out in the side for your own leisurely watch with your family, with your kids, especially the generation coming, and make this world livable and lovable. With that message, we will take the question answer sessions offline. I'll talk to Dr. Thakkar and Dr. Hetal Nayak, and if there any question for me, please put it out there. We will collaborate, and then we will send out the email with the answers. So all of you, thank you so much for joining me on this celebration of International Yoga Day. I hope there will be a transformation happening right now. And have a wonderful day. See you all later. Thank you.
Namaste.